use AI to capture the reality of humans in 3D. This is the reality of human behavior, like how we move, how we interact with the world around us, how we interact with objects, like picking things up, or how we interact with each other. That reality we capture using AI and using single cameras and multiple kinds of sensors, whatever sources, we can solve it from any of these sources. And the second thing that we do is we turn that captured reality of people, how people interact, how they behave, into behavioral intelligence for AI characters, like 3D characters for games and visuals and all different kinds of things. Basically, we're using these two pieces to train AI avatars so that they can see, interact, and behave just like us in their 3D environments.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Grow IT podcast. One of your hosts here, Trey King. And today we are very excited to have our guest, Noreen Mahmood from Meshcapade. And we'll be diving into her story a bit, as well as what it is her company does. And then, as always, some engaging insights into the technology industry. So make sure to stick around for this one. But without further ado, Noreen, welcome. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. It's really nice to be here.
Excellent. Noreen, if we can kick things off, if you could kindly just, introduce yourself, a bit about your background and, just a bit about your company as well.
Sure, absolutely. So there's a long journey here, but basically I'm a researcher turned entrepreneur. So I started working on computer graphics and computer vision research. This was I already started back in the early 2000s, actually. This was during my undergrad. And since then, I have almost 2 decades of experience. I was just counting it before this call. It's almost 2 decades of experience in this field now.
Awesome.
Co-authored a lot of seminal research and patents for 3D digital humans specifically, using computer vision and computer graphics and 3D motion. And in fact, just last month, one of the publications that I worked on 10 years ago just received the Test of Time Award in Japan from ACM.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
News.
So
yes.
This is the world's actually leading computer graphics publications from SIGGRAPH. So I'm super excited about this.
Yes.
So with that background and that experience, back in 2018, I started a company which we call Meshcapade, and this is our logo right here. And I started this company together with my co-founders, Talha Zaman and Michael Black, both of whom have many, many years of experience in computer vision as well. And especially Michael, he is actually a very well-known character in computer vision and AI. He is one of the most important people in computer vision and AI, in fact. So over the past few years, I've been leading this company, Meshcapade, that's creating the 3D human technologies that are used by big tech companies across the world. Yeah.
Excellent. Tell me, so what typically kind of challenges and problems do you solve for your clients?
So in a nutshell, we're building embodied intelligence. So what that means is that the easiest way to explain it is like there are exactly 2 things that we do, and we do them really, really well. And we're really proud of that. So first is we use AI to capture the reality of humans in 3D. This is the reality of human behavior, like how we move, how we interact with the world around us, how we interact with objects, like picking things up, or how we interact with each other. That reality we capture using AI and using single cameras and multiple kinds of sensors, whatever sources, we can solve it from any of these sources. And the second thing that we do is we turn that captured reality of people, of how people interact, how they behave, into behavioral intelligence for AI characters, like 3D characters for games and visuals and all different kinds of things. So basically, we're using these 2 pieces to train AI avatars so that they can see, interact, and behave just like us in their 3D environments. So that's what we're building towards. It's super exciting.
That is very exciting. I can't actually wait to go have a look at that, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
Except now for that, what you're saying from the company, what would you say is like the most significant value, that your firm can bring to other businesses? And then that value that you guys have, how do you guys currently go about to like communicate that value to your clients, or potential clients rather?
Mhm. So what we're doing, it transcends industry. So it's, first of all, this is what AI is doing anyways. It's creating, transforming industries, creating completely new kinds of industries. So
Right.
what we are building, it's creating completely new kinds of possibilities that did not even exist before, and already also making it much easier, making human understanding much more accessible across the board for many different kinds of like smaller industries. Because, for example, if when I talk about, we are able to capture the reality of humans in 3D, about how we move in 3D from any source of data, and especially even from a phone camera, any phone
Yeah.
camera, or like even old footage, like YouTube videos, or old like um, those camcorder recordings from like home
Yeah.
video. So we can take that video and convert that into a 3D human in 3D space that you can put into a game or a 3D visualization, and analyze for sports. You can analyze that 3D behavior, that movement, and learn from that, use that for training or learning, or just turn that into animation for 3D
Yeah.
graphics games. Now, that possibility only existed up until now for really big budget industries, right?
Right.
That was only possible for studios who had like lots of like a huge budget for a
A
motion.
big budget, right?
Exactly. And that's what we're making ubiquitous. So making these possibilities of creating a 3D understanding of humans across many different industries, and making it more accessible across the board.
Excellent. This is so fascinating. Tell me, do you perhaps maybe have an example of a client? Obviously you don't have to provide their name. Of how you've done this. Like for a specific client.
So one of the things that I'll talk about, so there's of course clients that are using our technology. So our platform is live. They can just go online and upload videos, and we convert that into 3D for their games or their health visualization, whichever, there are many different kinds of use cases. But
Yeah.
the kind of use case I found really, really interesting is one of the most recent ones that has evolved or like come up. So for example, for video diffusion companies, one of the hardest part is, how do you represent humans and human behavior? So for like video diffusion products like Sora, or these there's lots of different products like from Runway and such, that can generate a video from text, right?
Right.
Now, when you do that, a lot of times you might have seen these examples of when you try to generate a human doing some kind of complex human activity, that does not look so great.
Right.
Because it's really hard to train for that, because already these models that are being trained for video diffusion, they take tons of data and tons of processing. But when it comes to human behavior, we do such complex things. Our behavior is depicted in different ways, and it is driven by intent. And those pieces, like human behavior, is not yet trained into AI models. So one of the things that we developed right at the beginning, which
Right.
is actually the core technology that powers our 3D motion capture and generation engines, is what we call simple. And it's intentionally called simple because we want 3D motion to be simple. It's an acronym. SMPL stands for Skinned Multi-Person Linear Model. So this is the patented 3D model that is trained on tens of thousands of 3D scans and motion capture data of real people. And with this data, we've trained this model called Simple which is it's a generative model that encodes our behaviors and our expressions and soft tissue movements hands and fingers, it encodes all of that in 3D, and it does we've made it very compact. We've encoded all of that information in a very compact way. So it just uses 100 numbers to recreate any person in 3D in any pose. So that's incredibly compact. 100 numbers is less than 1 kilobyte of data. So
yeah,
what that enables is that, for example, in comparison to video diffusion models, if you train a model, a video diffusion model with simple integrated, with our body model integrated into it to understand the human component, it only needs to train on 100 numbers for the human instead of millions and millions of pixels to be able to understand what the human is doing or how to control what the human can do. That's really powerful. And this is something that we talked about it during the last year. Our co-founder, Michael, actually gave a talk at Stanford about how this can be really transformative for the industries. And just recently, over the last few months, a couple of companies that are doing video diffusion, I can't name the names, but the two especially companies that are still startups. So one of them is a unicorn startup, actually. And the other one is, they just did their Series B of like multiple millions of dollars. And both of them are using our technology now to start training video diffusion models and using our models to build that language of human behavior, to use that language of human behavior for their video diffusion.
Yeah, this is so interesting. And I'm sure, I've got, there's a lot of founders of companies that obviously we're fortunate to, obviously to join on the podcast, right? And, the buzzword is AI, and because of that, there's always I found these different types of perceptions, like, a lot of business owners have on, how they think and feel about it. And as it's evolving. To me, it feels like it's every month that it's just, growing and new technology coming out the whole time. What is your take on, would you say, on the market when it comes to AI, and not just specifically what you guys do, but just your opinion on AI? Is it something that you would say that you find that people are a bit more risk adverse to it, or people are embracing it? What is like what way is the wind blowing?
That's a very good question. And there's lots that can be said about this. I think the most important thing is it's kind of like every time there's been a revolution, like the industrial revolution, and then when the chipsets came in, like the Silicon Valley and the computer revolution happened and things. So every time one of these events has happened, it has changed the course of history of how we're evolving, how we're interacting with things, how we're building things. And to me, it really is one of those events that's happening right now.
Right.
And we're lucky to be living through it.
Yeah.
When it comes to embracing AI, the thing is, I think it's very important for everybody to be more involved in this, and especially for researchers to be as involved in it. And of course, every big tech company is also building their own AI systems for different kinds of uses. But what I find really, really hopeful and really, really good is that they're making them open. And that's the most important thing, because when the technology revolution really happened, there were a few big tech companies that started coming out, and each of them have ended up creating a walled garden that makes it really hard for you to integrate with or use different kinds of systems together. But at this point, it's really important to bring all of this, make it all open and make it so that, especially because we don't know where AI will go, this is very, this is uncharted territory. Making sure that as much is openly available and as much researchers and academics are encouraged to participate in it, that's the most important thing, because then we'll be solving real world problems instead of just, going after the shiniest things, because
Yes.
there's just
Well
lots of
said.
fun in the world today, right?
No, well said. Noreen, as you must probably would have found when you guys obviously started out the business, and with your business partners as well, it's not always rosy, right? There's always bumps in the road. Growing a company, getting to the level where things are sustainable, breaking through glass ceilings and thus forth. In your, what challenges have you guys faced? When you guys were busy, building the business, and there's always challenges, right? Would you mind sharing like maybe one or two things that you guys have found challenging to grow your business with, and as well as, what worked and what did not work for the company to grow?
I think one of the biggest challenges is just the same thing, that it's uncharted territory. A lot of the things that are being built now with AI are completely changing how things have existed in the past. So making it making products that are actually useful, and not just like something that just will trend and then go back down, but is actually useful for long-term use, and long-term is utilized in the long term for changing how people do things. That's the most important thing, and just keeping abreast of that, like just keeping in our minds that, okay, this is the goal that we're building towards. And at the same time, there's also friction from the markets, right? Because people don't understand AI and the AI models, and how the training is happening. So on our part, we are always very careful about, like, all the training that we've done is data that we collected ourselves or we bought. But this trend of AI models, it's actually starting to create completely new kinds of categories of technology. What we're doing is already a completely new category. If we're building a new category of ubiquitous 3D human understanding. How this changes people's lives, we have a pretty good understanding of it, but there are things that we haven't even envisioned. So trying to build a business model around that kind of
makes it for interesting conversation, right?
Exactly. And sometimes people will just come over to us and suggest something that we hadn't even thought about. We're like, okay, yeah, this is something we can try, but also be careful about like what we do want to try, which will still push towards the vision that we want to build towards. Have to be very careful about those things. Yeah.
I'm thinking now, you guys are so much on the forefront when it comes to this technology, right? And have you guys, like, let's say, like from a marketing strategy, have you guys like focused on thought leadership when it came to informing people about what's out there and what's new? Because I mean, you guys are innovators, right?
Exactly. So that's a very interesting thing to think about. I was wondering about the thoughts, like, how you do thought leadership. So from our background, since we are researchers, we have always been working on publications and collaboration with other people, to other researchers especially. So in fact, even throughout the time since we started the company, we have continued to collaborate on publications. And in fact, our third co-founder, Michael, is in fact still very actively involved in advising PhD students and master's students, because he is still part of a research institute. And I think through that, just making sure that when you are publishing or working on some research, it's also still working towards solving real world problems. And that's something that we obviously try to do constantly, but we also talk very openly about it, and we explain how we built something and why. And that's always been important. We do give like several talks over the whole year at different conferences, just to inform and teach people about these newer technologies and what's possible, what's not possible, what the drawbacks are. So I think this is very important, to just be collaborative.
Tell me, like I mentioned earlier, you guys have been, doing this for quite some time yourself as well. And I mean, you've got such a fruitful and colorful journey up until where you are at now. Is there maybe like, one or two nuggets of advice that you are willing to share for, you know, the up and coming entrepreneur that like wants to get into this market? And, you know, a lot of people are currently, they feel they like stuck in a rut at their current job and they want to jump ship, you know, and break into the business space. Is there some advice you would give of things that you've learned of, you know, growing a business successfully?
Yeah, that's a tough one because
Loaded question, right?
yeah, running a business is not easy. It's really, really hard. And you have to be very, very passionate about it. So, but you know, having the passion for building something and building something new and wanting to solve problems really is the best kind of passion that you can have when it comes to starting a company. Because one thing that I used to always tell everybody is when we started the company was that, we built the company to solve the problems that we ourselves felt needed to be solved. And it wasn't that we just saw that somebody else had this idea and we were just building based on that. It was, so we were doing research and we collaborated with lots of other researchers and they would give us feedback. Okay, this latest research that you did, it's super useful. I could even use it in my product. So using that feedback and also further feedback from them was always about like, oh, what if it could also do this X, Y, Z? And what if it could also do these additional other things? Those are the things that always, you know, helped us admire. You know, it's always very fun to hear other people say, oh, I love the product that you've built, or I love the research that you did. And I wish there could be something more, because then I would love to use it even more. So that passion to build something that others want to use, you should just look for that. And for people that you hire also for your company, you should look for people who want to do that, because that will just help build better and better teams. And it will just power you through all of the sleepless nights of the startup as well.
No, of course, there's a lot of those, right? The Noreen, tell me, where can the audience, where can they get hold of you guys?
So we are active on LinkedIn, on X, Twitter, as well as Blue Sky. We are also, so we are a remote first company, so we interact very, you know, heavily online. And of course, our website is meshcapade.com. And that's, you know, you can always go to the website and just fill in the contact form at the bottom. And we're very actively involved in, you know, discussions on research as well as product and technology.
Excellent. Well, Noreen, I would like to thank you for coming on. You provide such good insight. You know, I sound like a broken record, but you guys are innovators. You know, I can fully understand why your company is so successful. Wishing you all the best, and thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.